Today we'll be calculating measures of dispersions. In order to do that, we need to learn how to calculate the mean using the calculator. We'll calculate the mean absolute deviation, also known as the MAD, and later we'll be calculating the standard deviation and the variance. So to begin with, we're going to expand our terminology. We know what the average number indicates. We also know that average and the word mean mean the same thing. We're going to add a few symbols today to represent the average. So the Greek letter mu represents mean. So when we're talking about mu, we are talking about the mean. And as you can see, it resembles a small cursive U with a big tail. So you just make a long tail and a small cursive U. Big tail, small cursive U. And that's the Greek letter mu, which means average or mean. We'll be using the calculator to calculate it. And on the calculator, the average or mean, or the mu, is represented with an X with a line on top. So we call that X bar. So the X bar will be on the calculator, and later we'll be using mu in our formula. All right, so let's go into our calculator. Let's hit the Stat key. We're going to be entering data, so hit Enter under Edit. And let's put some numbers in, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So as just looking at that, we know that the average is 30. So let's go ahead and have the calculator calculate that for us. So we're going to go into the Stat key, arrow over to Calculate. We're going to do a 1-bar stats. So hit Enter. So here I have a 1-bar stats, and I want to do it on list 1. My calculator is set for list 2. So you can change list easily. Every number has a corresponding list above it. You just need to hit the second key first. So I want list 1, so I'm going to hit second 1. I'm going to arrow down and calculate. And here's some statistics that ran on that data. So my X bar right there is my mean. I go back to my data set, Stat, Edit. 30 was what I thought it was. So let's try it one more time. Let's arrow up to list 1, and we're going to clear it. So we highlight list 1, hit clear, and arrow down. So let's put in a new data set. Let's put in 25, 50, 75, 100, and 125. So again, looking at my data set, I know that my average is 75. So let's run a 1-bar stats and see what the calculator says. So we're going to hit a Stat, Calculate, a 1-bar stat on list 1. And my X bar is 75. So that's how you find the mean on the calculator. So now let's find the mean absolute deviation, or the MAD. So this has a few more steps to it, so let's have a little plan of what we're going to do. So we're first going to enter our data into list 1. We know how to do that. We're then going to calculate X bar, mu, or the average for list 1. We know how to do that. We just did that. We're then going to go into list 2 and enter the equation. We're going to tell the calculator to take the absolute value of list 1 minus the mean. And once we have that in list 2, we're going to calculate the average of list 2, and that is our MAD. The average of the absolute value of the distance each data element is from the mean. So let's go into our calculator. and hit Stat, Edit. So we already have some data here, and we already know our mean is 75. So now let's calculate the MAD. So to do that, I'm going to go over to list 2. So go over and up. And now we're going to put that equation about the absolute value of list 1 minus, in this case, 75 is the mean. Okay? So we need to get an absolute value sign. So we need to go to Math, Num, absolute value. And now you can see right down here, it's telling me what I'm putting in. I got the absolute value, so I need list 1. So I hit second, 1, and then minus the mean. In this case, it's 75. And hit enter. So what that's done is it's taken each of these, minus 75, and taken the absolute value. So how far is each number from 75? So we're almost there. So now this is how far each number is from 75. Now we need to find the average of those numbers. So we need to calculate a 1-bar stat on list 2. So go to Stat, Calculate a 1-bar stat. We need to change our list to list 2. Second, 2, and arrow down, and calculate. So the average of list 2 is 30, so our MAD is 30. Let's try another example. Let's go into Stat, hit Enter. Let's clear our list, so we're going to highlight each list, hit Clear, and arrow down. Highlight the name of each list, hit Clear, and arrow down. So let's enter some more data. Let's enter 100, 200, 400, 300, and 500. All right, so 300 is going to be our average. Let's go ahead and calculate that. The Stat, Edit, Stat, Calculate a 1-bar stat on list 1. So we're going to go second, 1, Calculate. So our average of list 1 is 300. Stat, Edit. Now we're going to go into list 2. So go over and up, highlight list 2, and we're going to write our equation. The absolute value of list 1 minus 300. Math, Num, absolute value of list 1, second 1, minus 300. So now the calculator is telling us how far each of these data elements is from the mean of 300. Now we need to find the average of those, and that's our MAD. So we need to go into Stat, Calculate a 1-bar stat on list 2, second 2. Calculate. All right, so the MAD is 120.